The hall of the celestial arena stretched wide and high, its walls shimmering with energy fields and alien symbols that no human eye had ever seen before. Thousands of beings from across the galaxy had gathered. Their forms strange and fascinating. Some floated. Some had multiple limbs, and others were cloaked in colors that seemed to change with their moods. At the center of the hall, a long platform gleamed under the overhead lights, polished to reflect the brilliant colors of the alien crowd. Captain Elias Ward walked onto the platform, each step deliberate and confident. His battle armor glinted under the arena lights, a sleek human design of silver and cobalt, with moving panels that adjusted to his body. It was made for speed, agility, and protection, a perfect balance of human engineering and ingenuity. Yet today, that armor would become more than just a suit. It would be a symbol. The murmurs of the alien audience swelled as they noticed the human. Elias was smaller than most of the dignitaries and warriors around him. But humans were known for one thing across the stars: unpredictability. His reputation had reached them even before he stepped onto the station. Whispers of his victories in far-off worlds, of his cleverness and bravery. Still, he was an outsider. At the far side of the platform stood Princess Lyra Voss, her presence commanding even from a distance. Her armor was polished black with hints of deep violet that gleamed like starlight. She carried herself with the poise of someone who had never lost, someone who believed that her skill alone made her superior. Her eyes, sharp and calculating, scanned the hall, noting every reaction, every whisper, and every expectation. When she looked at Elias, a smile curved across her lips, one that was more mocking than friendly. "Is that the human?" she asked loudly, her voice carrying over the murmurs of the audience. "In that thing?" She gestured at his armor with a flick of her hand, the gesture meant to belittle. "It looks clumsy, outdated. Surely you don't think that would protect you in a real duel?" The hall fell silent for a moment. Then murmurs began again, some chuckles, some gasps, and a few doubtful glances. The aliens had a proud tradition of judging strength at first sight, and many thought Elias's armor looked primitive compared to their advanced exosuits and energy shields. Elias didn't respond immediately. He stood tall, his expression calm, almost serene. His hand rested lightly at his side, not touching any weapon. Instead of reacting with anger, he studied Lyra and the crowd. Every whisper, every smirk, every skeptical glance he received was recorded in his mind. Humans had a saying: measure twice, cut once. Today, he would measure carefully before acting. Lyra stepped closer to the edge of the platform, her voice rising so that everyone could hear. "I hope you are not planning to rely on that heavy suit," she said, tilting her head slightly. "A true warrior does not hide behind metal. Strength comes from skill, not armor. Do you even know how to fight without it?" The crowd shifted uncomfortably. No human had ever faced her before, and now this outsider was being questioned in the most public way possible. For a moment, Elias simply tilted his head and smiled faintly. That small gesture was enough to draw attention to him, to hint that he understood the challenge and that he had a plan. The arena official, a tall being with translucent skin and glowing eyes, floated to the center and announced, "The challenge shall begin. The human and Princess Lyra will engage in a duel of skill and agility. Let it be known that no harm shall come beyond the bounds of the arena. Begin when ready." Lyra's eyes sparkled with anticipation. "Very well," she said. "Show us, human, show us what you can do." She lifted her hand, and the platform beneath them shifted, revealing the first part of the arena, a series of moving panels and suspended platforms designed to test balance, speed, and reflexes. Elias took a deep breath and flexed his fingers inside the armor. Every movement of the suit was familiar to him. He had spent years mastering it, learning how to move as if the armor were an extension of his body. But today, it was not just about technology. Today, he would prove that humans could surpass even advanced alien designs through intelligence, adaptability, and courage. The duel began. Lyra moved first, leaping onto a platform with a grace that seemed effortless. Her eyes never left him, as she tested his movements with quick attacks. precise strikes, and sudden feints. Elias met her attack calmly, sidestepping and countering with moves designed to conserve energy while creating openings. The crowd gasped as Elias performed a sequence of flips and jumps that seemed impossible in his armor. Panels that moved underfoot, suspended cables that shifted at random, and energy barriers that flared unpredictably. He navigated them all with a combination of speed and clever timing. Humans were adaptable, and every obstacle was a puzzle he solved instinctively. Lyra's expression shifted. She had expected a slow, clumsy human, reliant on armor, but she saw something else: precision, intuition, and a calm that unnerved even the most confident aliens. She increased the difficulty of her moves, trying to force him into mistakes. But Elias remained ahead, predicting her patterns and responding with clever counter-moves that seemed almost preternatural. Finally, halfway through the duel, he stopped. For a moment, the platform froze. The audience leaned forward, sensing something unusual. Elias took a deep breath and slowly began to remove pieces of his armor. Layer by layer, the gleaming suit came apart, revealing the human beneath muscles toned from rigorous training, hands steady and ready, eyes sharp and focused. A murmur ran through the hall. Gasps, whispers, and even stunned silence filled the space. Aliens had expected humans to be fragile, dependent on technology. What they saw instead was a warrior strong, agile, and fully in control of his own body. Lyra blinked, momentarily thrown off. You are removing your armor?" she asked, her voice a mixture of shock and curiosity. "Why would you do that?" Elias smiled faintly, a calm confidence in his gaze. "Because true skill does not hide behind metal. Strength is in the mind, the body, and the spirit, not the suit." The audience leaned closer, some whispering among themselves. Could a human really match an alien princess without the aid of armor? Could he survive, and even triumph, using nothing but his own skill? Lyra shook off her surprise and adjusted her stance. Her eyes narrowed, not with anger, but with renewed focus. "Very well," she said. "Let us see what you are truly capable of, human." With that, the second phase of the duel began. Now unarmored, Elias moved faster, lighter, and more fluid. He anticipated Lyra's strikes, dodged with perfect timing, and used the moving platforms to his advantage. Every flip, every landing, every counterattack was calculated, precise, and unexpectedly brilliant. The audience watched in silence, unable to believe what they were seeing. Aliens who had always thought humans weak and fragile were witnessing raw human ingenuity and adaptability in action. As the duel continued, Elias began to subtly outmaneuver Lyra. Not with brute strength, but with intelligence. He lured her into positions where she had to react quickly, predicting her next moves, and guiding her energy in ways that made her underestimate him. Every action showcased the essence of human resilience, the ability to learn, adapt, and excel under pressure. Lyra's pride did not allow her to show it, but even she felt respect growing within her. This human, this outsider, was more than she had anticipated. He was clever, skilled, and courageous, all qualities that her own people valued above technology and armor. By the end of the session, the first part of the duel concluded with a spectacular display of balance, speed, and intelligence. The audience erupted in applause, some in disbelief, others in admiration. Aliens whispered among themselves, reassessing everything they thought they knew about humans. Elias, breathing evenly, stood in the center of the platform, his chest heaving slightly from exertion, but his gaze steady and confident. He had not yet won, but he had made a statement. Humans were more than their technology. Humans were adaptable, clever, and capable of astounding feats when challenged. Lyra, though silent, adjusted her stance for the next round, a flicker of intrigue in her eyes. The duel had only begun, and already the hall had begun to reconsider their expectations of a single human standing among the galaxy's most advanced warriors. And somewhere in the crowd, Whispers began spreading. Perhaps we underestimated them. The humans might be something extraordinary. The arena buzzed with energy as the second phase of the duel began. The first round had left the audience amazed, and whispers of the humans' courage and unexpected skill floated through the hall. But now, the stakes had risen. This was no longer just a demonstration. It was a true test of adaptability, intelligence, and instinct. Princess Lyra Voss adjusted her stance, her violet-tinted armor gleaming under the arena lights. Her eyes were sharp, focused, and slightly wary. She had underestimated the human in the first round. And now she knew she could not rely on arrogance alone. This human Captain Elias Ward was different. There was a spark in his gaze, a calm confidence that did not falter. Even when every alien in the hall expected him to fail, Elias stood tall in the center of the arena, completely unarmored now. His muscles were tense, ready for the next challenge, and his movements were fluid, almost like water flowing around rocks. Though his suit had been removed, nothing had changed about his confidence. If anything, he seemed more alive, more present, as if shedding the armor had allowed him to move freely and think more clearly. The arena shifted beneath them. Panels moved and rotated unpredictably. Walls slid in from the sides, and holographic obstacles flickered into existence. It was a test designed to push even the most skilled warriors to their limits. Combining balance, speed, and strategic thinking, Lyra struck first, a flurry of precise, lightning-fast attacks meant to test Elias's reactions. She moved across the arena with a grace that defied gravity, her long limbs striking with speed and accuracy. But Elias was ready. He sidestepped, ducked, and pivoted, allowing her attacks to pass harmlessly by. Each time she struck, he responded with a subtle counter-move, a twist of his body, a redirection, a feint that made her overshoot her target. The audience leaned forward in suspense. Humans had long been underestimated in interstellar combat. Their technology was admired, but their physical capabilities were thought to be inferior. And yet, here was Elias, unarmored, facing a warrior of royal blood and advanced training and holding his own with ease. Lyra's expression shifted from surprise to determination. She increased the intensity of her attacks, aiming not just to strike but to corner him. Panels beneath their feet moved faster, obstacles appeared suddenly, and energy barriers flickered into place. But Elias adapted instantly, reading the changes, predicting her movements, and adjusting his steps. Every action was deliberate, every reaction precise. He began to use the arena itself as a tool. A rotating panel became a springboard, giving him extra momentum to flip over her next attack. A series of suspended cables became a bridge, allowing him to move in unexpected directions. With each move, he turned potential danger into advantage, demonstrating a key human strength: ingenuity under pressure. Lyra hesitated for a brief moment. This human skill was not just physical, it was intellectual. He could anticipate, adapt, and strategize in ways she had not expected. She struck again, faster this time, aiming to surprise him, but Elias leapt with perfect timing, landing on a platform behind her. "Impressive," she muttered under her breath, a rare smile flickering across her lips. It was not mocking, it was respect. She had faced many warriors, but none had moved with such awareness, such cleverness, and such calm in the midst of chaos. The duel continued, each exchange pushing both warriors to their limits. Elias did not rely on strength alone. He used misdirection, timing, and clever observation. He noticed the subtle cues in Lyra's movements, the way her shoulder tilted before a strike, the tiny shift of her weight, indicating her next move. With each observation, he adjusted, turning her speed and skill against her, in ways that left the audience in awe. The aliens around the arena began to murmur. "He predicts her moves," one whispered. "A human? Predicting a royal warrior's attacks?" Another added, "This is impossible. Humans should be weaker. Yet he..." He outmaneuvers her. Half. But Elias did not act arrogantly. Every move he made was purposeful, controlled, and respectful. He did not gloat. And he did not underestimate his opponent. He knew the duel was as much a mental test as a physical one. One wrong step could end the round. Yet he remained calm, his mind sharp and focused. Lyra's pride drove her to increase the difficulty further. She summoned holographic duplicates of herself, each moving independently, forcing Elias to keep track of multiple opponents. She struck from unexpected angles, combining her strength with speed and precision. Yet Elias adapted once again. He observed the patterns, predicting which duplicate was real and which was a projection. With a clever combination of movement and timing, he avoided each attack, turning the projection's positions to his advantage. The hall erupted in gasps and whispers. Aliens who had been skeptical now stared in awe. Humans were more than just fragile beings, relying on technology. They were adaptable, creative, and cunning. Elias embodied the best of humanity: courage, intelligence, and resilience. Finally, after a particularly daring move, Elias used a series of flips and landings to position himself directly in front of Lyra. The princess froze for a moment, realizing that the human had anticipated her strategy completely. She had expected him to rely on armor or strength, but he had used his mind and body in perfect harmony, making him almost untouchable. Elias did not attack aggressively. Instead, he extended his hand in a gesture of respect. "Your skill is remarkable," he said, his voice calm and steady. "But humans are not defined by armor. Strength comes from within." Lyra's eyes widened. No human had ever spoken to her with such confidence, such clarity. There was no arrogance in his words, only truth and respect. She lowered her guard slightly, acknowledging, without words, the human's ability and bravery. The arena shifted again, signaling the end of the second round. Both warriors paused, breathing evenly, their eyes locked in mutual respect. The audience erupted in applause, not just for the display of skill, but for what it represented. Humans, long underestimated, had shown that they could match, and perhaps surpass, even the most advanced alien warriors through cleverness, courage, and adaptability. Whispers spread through the hall. "Perhaps we judge them too quickly," one alien said. "A human, without armor, and still unmatched in skill." Another added, "They are extraordinary. More than we imagined." Lyra, though silent, felt her perspective shift. Prideful and confident as she was, she could not deny the truth before her eyes. Elias Ward was not just a human, he was a master of his body and mind, capable of turning every challenge into an opportunity. Elias took a moment to recover, his chest rising and falling steadily. He did not boast or revel in his performance. Instead, he focused on the next round. Knowing that the true test was yet to come, the final phase of the duel would demand more than agility or strategy. It would test endurance, creativity, and the human spirit itself. The arena shifted once more, revealing a new set of challenges. Platforms now moved in erratic patterns, walls rose and fell unpredictably, and holographic barriers appeared without warning. This was the ultimate test, a dynamic environment designed to push even the best warriors to their limits. Lyra's eyes narrowed, a mix of determination and respect. "This is your final chance, human," she said. "Show me what you are truly capable of." Elias nodded slightly, his expression calm. "I am ready," he replied. His voice carried across the arena, clear and confident. "Let the test begin." As the platforms shifted and the holographic obstacles flickered into place, Elias moved forward with precision, timing, and intuition. Every step, every leap, every dodge was deliberate. He was no longer just reacting, he was anticipating, shaping the environment around him to his advantage. The audience watched in awe. Humans were often seen as fragile and limited, but here was proof that adaptability, intelligence, and courage could overcome even the most advanced technology. Every move Elias made told a story of resilience, determination, and the human spirit. Lyra fought with all her skill, but she could not deny the pattern forming before her eyes. Elias had turned the chaotic arena into a stage where he could demonstrate the very best of humanity: ingenuity, courage, and calm under pressure. Finally, after a series of daring maneuvers and clever moves, Elias stood in the center of the arena, unscathed, confident, and victorious for the second round. The hall erupted in applause, cheering, and admiration. Humans had shown that they were not to be underestimated. They were clever, resourceful, and capable of extraordinary feats. Lyra, though not defeated, acknowledged his skill with a subtle nod. Respect had been earned, and the duel had already left the audience speechless. Humans, thought to be fragile and dependent on technology, had proven their worth in the most unexpected way. As the crowd settled, whispers of amazement continued. Humans, they are remarkable. Clever, fearless, adaptable. Unlike anything we expected. Elias took a deep breath, knowing the final phase of the duel was approaching. The first 2 rounds had been a demonstration, a proof of concept. The final round would be the true test, the moment when humans could show that strength came not just from technology, but from the mind, body, and spirit. And the galaxy would watch, holding its breath, as a human prepared to challenge the very expectations of an entire interstellar society. The arena hummed with energy, brighter than it had at any point during the duel. The first 2 rounds had left the audience astonished, their previous expectations of humans shattered. Whispers floated through the hall. Perhaps humans are stronger than we imagined. They think and act differently. Look at his skill, unarmored, yet unmatched. Even among the elite warriors, there was an undeniable sense of awe. Princess Lyra adjusted her stance, her violet armor reflecting the flickering lights. Her eyes, sharp and calculating, studied Elias Ward. Pride had always guided her, and she had never been challenged in such a way. Yet now, facing this human, she realized that skill, ingenuity, and courage could surpass even the most advanced armor. Elias stood at the center of the arena, completely unarmored. The physical display had already impressed the crowd, but the final round would require more than agility or strategy. It would demand endurance, quick thinking, and the very essence of human grit. He was ready. Calm, focused, and confident. The arena transformed into a complex labyrinth of moving platforms, energy barriers, holographic projections, and shifting walls. It was a test designed to push even the most elite warriors to their limits. The audience leaned forward, anticipating the final act. For them, this was more than a duel. It was a revelation. Lyra moved first, a streak of violet across the arena, striking with speed and precision. Each attack was calculated to challenge Elias physically and mentally, but he had learned her patterns from the previous rounds. He anticipated her moves, using clever misdirection, agility, and intuition to evade each strike. He did not rely on brute strength or reflex alone. Every movement was guided by careful observation and human ingenuity. The crowd watched in astonishment as Elias turned what seemed like disadvantage into advantage. A holographic barrier flickered before him, and instead of seeing it as an obstacle, he used it to obscure his movements, confusing Lyra's attacks. A moving platform seemed destined to push him into a corner, but he leaped, twisting through the air to land safely on another surface, perfectly timed to catch her off guard. Lyra blinked. The human was more than she had anticipated. Not only was he fast and strong, but he could also adapt instantly, using the environment in ways she had never seen before. Her eyes narrowed, a spark of respect igniting within her. This duel was no longer about pride, it was a demonstration of pure skill and intelligence. Elias advanced carefully, combining movement, observation, and strategy. Each step, each dodge, each leap was precise. He wasn't just defending. He was learning, adapting, and responding in real time. The aliens had long thought of humans as fragile, relying heavily on technology. But here was a human, unarmored, facing one of the galaxy's elite warriors and excelling. The arena's final challenge appeared. A series of moving platforms that rotated unpredictably, interspersed with energy fields that would activate if touched. The platforms were spaced far apart, and the energy fields forced precise timing and clever movement. Even for experienced aliens, this was a difficult obstacle. But Elias approached it calmly. He studied the pattern of movement, noting the timing, the rotation, and the spacing. With each leap, he adjusted mid-air, landing perfectly on the next platform. A misstep would have triggered the energy fields, but he moved with confidence and precision, demonstrating the human capacity for calculation and instinct working together. Lyra tried to anticipate him, predicting his trajectory, but he was already one step ahead. His body and mind worked in perfect harmony, each movement guided by instinct and intelligence. Even without armor, he moved with confidence and agility that left the audience speechless. The crowd erupted in quiet gasps and whispers. Many had expected humans to be weak or limited, but they now watched a human turn the arena itself into an instrument of triumph. Aliens shifted uneasily in their seats, their preconceived notions challenged. Humans were not fragile. They were clever, adaptable, and remarkably resilient. Lyra paused for a moment, studying him with a mixture of frustration and admiration. Prideful as she was, she could not deny his skill. Elias was not just surviving the arena. He was controlling it, using intelligence, timing, and creativity to turn every obstacle into an advantage. The duel continued, moving from platform to platform, through shifting barriers, and over gaps that seemed impossible. Elias remained calm, his breathing steady, his eyes focused. Every leap, dodge, and turn demonstrated mastery over both body and environment. His movements were not just defensive, they were proactive, strategic, and brilliant. At one point, Lyra attempted a feint, a trick she had used successfully many times before, but Elias anticipated it, sidestepping and using the momentum of his own movement to pass behind her. He gently tapped her shoulder, a symbol of human cleverness rather than aggression. The audience gasped at the ingenuity, and even Lyra could not suppress a small smile. "Impressive," she said quietly, acknowledging him without pride or arrogance. "You truly are remarkable." Elias nodded slightly, returning the gesture of respect. "And you are a worthy opponent," he replied calmly. "Skill alone does not define victory. Adaptability, courage, and intelligence do." The crowd was silent for a brief moment, then erupted in applause. Humans had not only survived but excelled in a challenge designed to overwhelm even the most skilled alien warriors. They had demonstrated that technology alone was not the key to strength. Intelligence, courage, and the human spirit were equally, if not more, powerful. Lyra adjusted her stance and continued the duel, but it was now clear that the final round was more than a physical challenge. It was a demonstration of mutual respect and understanding. She had underestimated humans before, but now she saw their potential, their ingenuity, and their courage. Elias used the arena creatively, leveraging every obstacle to his advantage. He moved with precision, skill, and intuition, guiding the environment in ways that left the audience astonished. Every leap, every dodge, every feint was a testament to human grit. Finally, the arena signaled the end of the duel. Both warriors paused, breathing evenly, standing in the center of the arena. Elias was unarmored, unscathed, and calm, while Lyra stood with a mixture of pride and respect. The hall was silent for a heartbeat, then erupted in cheers and applause. Aliens from every corner of the galaxy were on their feet, clapping, whispering, and admiring the human who had turned expectations upside down. Whispers spread rapidly. "He is extraordinary. A human. Unarmored. Unmatched. Clever. Brave. Adaptable. Unlike anything we expected." Lyra stepped forward, offering her hand in acknowledgement. "Captain Ward," she said, her voice calm but sincere. "You have proven yourself today. I misjudged humans, and for that, I apologize. You have earned my respect." Elias smiled faintly and took her hand in a firm, respectful shake. "Thank you, Princess Voss. The same goes for you. You are a remarkable warrior, And your skill made me push beyond my limits." The audience erupted into another wave of applause. Not just for the victory, but for the display of sportsmanship, respect, and human ingenuity. The duel had become more than a contest. It was a demonstration of the human spirit, courage, and intelligence. As the crowd settled, leaders of various alien civilizations whispered among themselves. "Humans, they are extraordinary," one said. "They think differently, adapt quickly, and show courage in ways no technology can replicate." Another added, "Perhaps we should take humans more seriously. Their potential is limitless." And Elias stood in the center of the arena, breathing steadily, eyes calm, and a faint smile on his lips. He had proven that humans could compete with the most skilled warriors in the galaxy, not through technology or brute force, but through intelligence, adaptability, and courage. Lyra approached him once more. "Perhaps this is only the beginning," she said quietly. "Humans have much to teach us. And perhaps we can learn much from them as well." Elias nodded. "I hope so. Respect and cooperation can achieve more than conflict ever could." The hall erupted in cheers again, but this time it was different, more than amazement, more than admiration. There was a sense of wonder and hope. A recognition that humans, though underestimated, could inspire and change the galaxy simply by demonstrating courage, ingenuity, and the strength of spirit. The duel was over, but its impact would resonate across worlds. Humans, once thought fragile, had shown that true strength was not in armor or weapons, but in adaptability, intelligence, and courage. They had reminded the galaxy that even in the face of the unknown, they could rise, adapt, and leave even the most skeptical beings speechless. Elias Ward walked off the arena platform with quiet confidence. He had not only proven himself, but had reminded the galaxy of a simple truth: the human spirit, when challenged, could shine brighter than any technology or alien advantage. And as the celestial arena echoed with applause, whispers of respect and admiration for humanity spread across the galaxy, signaling that humans had arrived not just as survivors, but as a species capable of extraordinary achievement. The hall had been silenced by the human's skill, inspired by his courage, and left in awe of the sheer potential of humanity. And somewhere deep inside, every being who had witnessed the duel knew this was only the beginning of a new chapter, one where humans would continue to surprise, inspire, and lead the galaxy in ways no one had expected.